Coach, when you take a look at Stanford's defense, what are some of the concerns they provide for you? Obviously, they're top 25 in the country, do a great job of stopping the run, pass, et cetera, et cetera. What do you see from them on film?
Well, they play hard. I mean, they chase the ball. They're physical. Um, they give you a lot of different looks. Try to disrupt your quarterback. I think those are the biggest things. They're well coached. They're rarely out of position. You don't see a lot of balls thrown down the field over their head. The plays that have been made, in space. So our job is to try and get them in space, and their job is to stop us from getting in space. And so that'll be the challenge.
Coach, talk about this opportunity for OSU, the first BCS opportunity, the national spotlight now, what it means to this program.
Well, I'm sure it means a lot to the school itself, the people that are OSU alumni and have been a part of this program for years, and for our players, the work that they've put in. So, it's special for them to be the first. Win the league outright. Go to a BCS game. Play a great opponent like Stanford. So, obviously, it means a lot to a lot of people. It means a lot to our coaching staff. But really to those people that have followed the program for years and, sat through some tough times. So it's, obviously to those people, there's more of a, it's more personal, more personalized.
Obviously, being a pass first, run second type of offense going in, you guys changed it up nicely against Oklahoma, surprised them a bit, and ran for more than you actually threw in that game. Is it possible something may happen like that again in this game where you throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the mix? And sort of
I don't know. It depends on what they decide to do. Part of that, too, in that game was at one point in the game, it was out of hand. So the reality was, okay, you either go for style points or you basically say, if we don't turn the ball over, we're not going to lose this game. Let's find a way to run the ball. And if you look at the stats, a bunch of it came in the second half. We had 100 at half or whatever it was. But the reality was, it just turned out that way. They were playing a lot more three down. They were almost exclusively three down, almost exclusively coverage. So we really don't dictate how much we throw, how much we run. The opponent decides that. So we want to be able to run it in short yardage, goal line, 4 minute, coming out. That's when we have to be able to run it. Other than that, we don't really decide when we throw it or run it. They decide that. So, and then I guess we do decide some of it, how well, different things are working. But just worked out in that game that the reality was when we came out of Iowa State, we were not going to turn the ball over. Now, we still might have, but I'll be darned if we weren't. The focus was if we felt like we didn't turn it over, we'd win the game. That's the way it's been. We win at Iowa State if we don't turn it over. So.
The senior class has been the most successful in OSU history. You've been here only a year and everything, but when you look at some of the seniors, Blackman, of course, a junior, but in all likelihood, he's gone too. You kind of look at them, you look at Whedon, see those guys, know it's their last game. Does that mean anything to you at all? Does it make you sad at all? Those guys are going to be gone?
Yeah, it makes me sad. We scored a lot of points, and they're really good players. Yeah, that makes me sad. I wish it was like the NFL and we could re-up them for a 5-year deal and have them be around for another 5 years. That makes things a lot easier. But it's sad in one way, but obviously it's what's exciting for those guys is they can say it, but I would doubt to a man that those guys believed when they came that they could win the conference, be just a hair away from playing for it all and playing in the Fiesta Bowl. I'll bet there's no way they believe that. And for them to have that happen to them is unbelievable for them. And there's a lot of people that have a hand in that, not me, but a lot of other people that have had a big hand in that, and that's what's special about it. But they will leave here with unbelievable memories. For years to come, they'll be bringing back this team as the first to do this, and that'll just concoct all kinds of memories of being a part of it. And so for them, it's special, but that's the nature of what you do. Guys, graduate and move on, so that's and we got one left. So
you talk about the Whedon and Luck is kind of as close, I think, college football is going to have to like a Brady versus Manning type of elite quarterback matchup. I mean, you have a lot of elite team matchups in college football. It's not very often you have quarterbacks at that level going head-to-head like that.
Well, I think it's a neat matchup. Obviously, We like our guy, they like theirs. They're both very good football players, both deserving of any award they've gotten. So it should be exciting to see that matchup. They go about it a little bit different than we do. So, but I think it's neat when you think about a matchup of really non-running, not that they're not athletic, but so many of the spreads are now going to running quarterbacks. You're talking about, they're not a spread team, but you're talking about two drop-back quarterbacks, throwing quarterbacks. Pro-style quarterbacks, right. It's a neat matchup.
What's been your impression of Chase Thomas for Stanford linebacker?
Well, again, I think they have a collective group of guys that play off each other. I think as a team, I think they play great team football. They run the ball. They take the time of possession. They're always in positive third downs, give themselves to convert. That way their defense doesn't play a lot of snaps, and they play their rear ends off. They chase the ball, and they don't give up a lot of big plays. That's an unbelievable, they don't turn it over, and they create turnovers. So the reality is that's an unbelievable formula for winning. So that's the way they go about it, and it's been obviously successful for them. And I don't think it's a formula that per se only fits just because they have Andrew Luck. I think that obviously helps it. It helps you be super successful, but the plan that they have and how they're successful is a formula that's from Jones Junior High to the NFL is how you win. So not one particular player. I just think as a defense and then as a staff and as an organization, they do it the right way.
You mentioned their offense helping their defense by not making them play a whole lot of snaps. The only team to beat them the last couple of years is Oregon, and they obviously go really, really fast. Is this a game where you would like your tempo to be about as fast as you guys
I
are
don't know.
comfortable going?
Oregon only ended up getting like 66 snaps. And that sometimes you don't dictate that. We played Baylor, and I think we had like 68 snaps, and we had 49 at half. Sometimes if you get the ball in their end, if you get an explosive play, if you turn it over, if they're converting, then all of a sudden they have the ball a lot more than you'd like. I just think you have to make sure that you're real efficient with the plays that you do have. And then obviously what we do is not what they see every day. So, but just to go fast, as I've always said, if you don't execute, it doesn't help you any. Now, obviously, if you can put yourself in a position where it creates some anxiety and some space and get their players chasing and don't get off the field, then great. But we haven't been just, we've tempoed, but we haven't been a huge tempo team the last few weeks.
Here's a goofy question. Do you ever marvel at the touchdown production of your offense? Over 2 years, it's been great. 140
Not really.
some odd touchdowns. When
Not really.
A typical number for Oklahoma State over a 2-year period is 90 to 105 or something. You're coming up on 150 touchdowns.
Well, I think there's a couple things that lend itself to that. One is, I think that the system that Dana Holgerson brought with him and how he evolved it from the mummy leech tree into what is his, and being fortunate to come here with that system already in, that's part one, and then us taking it with what we could have making it ours in Oklahoma State's. The second thing is having really, really good players, and when you've got a great quarterback and great skill guys and a veteran offensive line, I've never really looked at it as that other than I'm surprised when we don't score. So I know that doesn't, I'm not arrogant, it's got nothing to do with me. I just think when you've got a system that allows to create space, you've got really good players and a really good quarterback and a defense that's created, let's give credit where credit's due, 70-something turnovers over the last 2 years. You cannot put a number on that. And then special team scores and Gilbert as a kick returner, those all add into your touchdowns. Those all add into momentum changers that adds into your production. So it's just been an unbelievable run, the 2 years of offensive personnel, the system that Dana had installed, us kind of taking it and then creating all those turnovers. I think you just can't. It's unbelievable.
Talk about how OSU, you put an OSU stamp on that system. I mean, are you talking about the run game aspect of it primarily?
You mean what we changed?
And
No.
And Wickline, I think, had a big influence
No.
last year on Dana.
No, I think there was a number of guys that have had, again, I think that obviously the staff that was here last year and Wick that carried over and Coach Meacham and our staff now. But there was a lot of things we tweaked. It was pass game, run game, how we call it, the motion, what personnel. We ended up a little bit more 10 personnel than they had been. Again, there was a lot of things that we changed. The base system was still there, but then how you call it, how you run it, like any system, it's got to become yours. So, but the reality is we have good players. So no matter what the system, I think we could have run what Stanford run has success. I don't know if it would have matched what we'd have done. I don't know if we've got their personnel, but when you've got good players, I think you can run a number of things.